Hi, this is Mike Simpson. Welcome to our introduction to software quality assurance.
The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyrighted work is illegal. Criminal copyright infringement, including infringement without monetary gain, is investigated by the FBI and is punishable by up to 5 years in federal prison and a fine of $250,000.
Software quality assurance means a lot of different items to a lot of different people. Let's tell you what you're going to be learning during this software quality assurance course. We're going to be talking about mechanisms involved to make sure that you design quality into a software project. Now, that sounds a little bit trite, but we don't want to design bugs into our project. We want to make sure that when we design our project, that we design quality into the project. So what steps do we need to do to make sure that we're designing our project, to make sure that we're making sure that it's a high quality project and we're designing quality into the project? Of course, that means we have to define what quality is, so that's part of our definition. We want to make sure that we know how to review our project to ensure that the quality of the project remains high throughout the project. And we want to know what the risks are of not designing the quality into a project. And then we also want to know how do we assess those risks and how to avoid these risks. So this is both a what to do right in a course and what to do if things go wrong, because you have to know both of them. What kinds of things should you know how to do once you complete this course? You should know how to analyze the software for quality defects. You should know how to create testing plans to make sure that your software meets appropriate standards. Now, those standards may be ones that are created within your company. You may have to meet sort of corporate or state or federal or governmental standards, but your software needs to meet some sort of standards. And so how do you create a testing plan to ensure that it meets those standards? You need to be able to document your software's functionality. Your software basically is automated so that it meets some set of specifications. So how does your software's functionality relate to the set of specs? Because your software is automating some set of tasks. Those set of tasks need to relate to a particular set of requirements, which we generally call functional specifications. And we want to design our software so that it minimizes software defects. Now, software is created by humans, and we as humans are not perfect, but ideally we want our software to have as few defects as possible. So what mechanisms can we take to design our software so that we can minimize defects when they occur? So we want to cover all of these course objectives during our course. So as we go through, keep these items in mind and kind of use them as a mental checklist to see A, how well you're doing in terms of meeting the course objectives, and B, how well we are doing in meeting the course objectives. In order to get the best out of this course, what kinds of prerequisites should you have? You'll do best in this course if you have some prior experience with software design, software project management, or software quality management. Because basically, what we're talking about in terms of software quality assurance is making sure that you know what steps to take to ensure that the software that you work on, develop, manage, test, or deliver is the best that it can possibly be. And you'll be able to best relate this to the work that you have done or will do if you've done something related to software design, software project management, or software quality management before. Now, if you haven't done some of that kind of stuff before, then while you can certainly take this course, some of the terms that we deal with and some of the experiences that we talk about may seem a little bit foreign to you. Experience is the best teacher of many of these items. And so as we go through all this stuff, you may be able to say, oh yeah, I've done some of this before, or I can relate to some of these things that I've talked about before. And it's a lot easier to do it, again, from hindsight and experience. You'll hear us talking about some things where we relate experience and lore. What are some of the different topics we'll be covering during our various presentations? We'll start with some of the fundamentals of software quality assurance. What are the ways in which we can design, test, verify, and validate our software to ensure that it is high quality software? Software that meets specifications, does what we expect it to do, does it with a minimum of defects, and does it as efficiently as possible. Then we'll talk about the software quality life cycle. What's the life cycle from design through analysis, through testing, through verification, through fielding, and through implementation? How do we do cost-effective quality control? Because it's certainly easy to control the quality of the software if you throw enough money at it, but we don't have the luxury of being able to just throw infinite resources at it. So how can we perform cost-effective quality control? Then as we build up our model, there is a capabilities model. In other words, what is our software capable of? And as the software model grows and matures in its capabilities, there is a model called Capability Maturity Model Integration, or CMMI for short. And CMMI is essentially a model that says as the software grows and stabilizes, it becomes more mature, more capable of handling stuff, and less prone to error. So we're going to see how the Capability Maturity Model Integration provides an effective qualifier and predictor of software quality assurance. Then we're going to look at a set of standards called ISO, International Standards Organization 9000. And we'll look at ISO 9000 requirements and how they affect software. Going through all of this stuff requires us to document the steps that we're taking to assure high quality software. And so we're going to look at the steps that are taken to assure high quality software document creation. Then how do we design our software to assure high quality? So we're going to have two separate presentations. How do we document our high quality software, and how do we design those documents? Once we have designed our high quality software, we need to test the various elements of our software to assure that we're creating high quality software. So software quality assurance testing is an important part of making sure that we're doing things right. We need to test in the small, and we need to test in the aggregate, in the whole. And not only do we need to test our software, but we need to measure that which we've tested, because otherwise we won't know how good we are or what it is we actually need to fix. Then part of our quality assurance can be looked at in two ways. We can look at human managed information services quality assurance, and we can look at metrics managed information services quality assurance. Now, looked at it from the human managed level, we can simply look at it at how it deals with the interactions with people, and then if we looked at it from the metrics managed standpoint, let's simply look at it as, are we meeting the numbers? Because part of software quality assurance is, of course, are we simply meeting the numbers? But human managed information services quality assurance is, are we satisfying the intangible wants and needs of our end users? And sometimes those wants and needs of our users can't always simply be quantified with a simple set of numbers. Then the final parts of our presentation is, well, how do we go about assuring software quality through testing? Whereas the first part was simply, what's the procedures of creating the tests? And now we're going to look at how do the tests themselves assure software quality? And then how does design assure software quality? Now, we talked about before about how do we design software quality into our code, but now we have to talk about how do we assure software quality through design? So we're going to sort of turn the questions on its head. First, how do we go about testing and designing to create high software quality? And now we're going to turn the question on its head at the end and say, how did we accomplish our goals? As we go through our different modules, there will be exercises found throughout each of the modules so that we can test the concepts as we go through them. So you won't necessarily find, oh, here's an exercise at the end of this module, or here's an exercise at the end of that module. Exercises will be found throughout the individual modules. If you have questions or comments regarding this or any of the other presentations covered during this course, please use the question and comment box.